The rest of the scores, some of the highlights, and possibly a chance to look in on some games in progress in their late stages when we come back. And for this first weekend of the season, Broadway, Joe Namath, when was the last time anybody referred to you that way?
Oh, yesterday, actually.
Yeah, well, okay. And I guess until the day you die, right?
I hope so.
A couple of things we want to update you on, and then we'll give you the particulars later. Chicago has just scored with 1 second to play at Soldier Field on a Jim Harbaugh 6-yard touchdown pass to Tom Waddle, and apparently they will beat the Lions 27-24. All the Bears have to do is kick off, and the ball game will be over. A wild one at Soldier Field. It looks like Minnesota and Green Bay are headed for overtime. That game is tied at 20-all in the waning seconds at Lambeau Field, and we got the final from the Astrodome, and Pittsburgh does come from behind to beat the Oilers 29-24. Now, the highlights of the game that many of you just saw, the Falcons and the Jets. Atlanta wins this one 20-17, but some grit is shown by Browning Nagel making his first NFL start. He fumbles on his first snap as a starter, and although it was controversial and looked like the Jets might have deserved possession, it was ruled Atlanta ball. They cashed in for a touchdown, led 10-0. Then it became 17-0 on this touchdown pass to Michael Haynes from Chris Miller, the second time the two had hooked up for a score. But Nagel kept his composure, brought the Jets back. This one caps an 80-yard touchdown drive, 15-yard TD throw to Al Toon. They were within 20-10. Into the third quarter we go. Jets driving on the first possession of the second half. Brad Baxter fumbles near the goal line. Scott Case recovers to snuff out the Jets' threat. Nagel again, however. Chris Burkett will make this touchdown catch, most of it on the run after the grab as he spins away from Bobby Butler. That brought them to within 20-17. But there's plenty of time to think about what might have been if you're Bruce Coslett, Browning Nagel, and the rest of the Jets. Jason Starowski missed a couple of field goals, though he did hit a 43-yarder. Norm Johnson made a 54-yarder for the Falcons, and then there was the fumble near the goal line, too.
Yeah, well, Nagel, first of all, he's got passing marks. The Jet fans have got to love the way this man performed today. Never lost his cool. He stayed in the pocket, threw a lot of good passes. So the guy's in good shape. They should have won the game. Juice?
Well, I agree with that. I'm just, I feel bad for the Jets. I'm happy, obviously, the Falcons played well enough to win, but I feel bad that the Jets will be looking at the films and questioning some of those calls. I agree with Bill Parcells that they were bad calls, and without those calls, that they would have, with instant replay, I believe they would have been reversed, and I think the Jets would have come out of the Georgia Dome with a victory.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a commercial break here. We'll run down the rest of the scores, check on these games that are coming down to the wire, including the one between Minnesota and the Packers at Green Bay, where it looks like they're headed for overtime, and we'll do all that right after this at the Georgia Dome. What a game at Soldier Field with 1 second to go. Harbaugh to Tom Waddle from 6 yards out, and the Bears pull it out 27-24 against the Lions. Better than 100 yards rushing for Barry Sanders, including a 43-yard touchdown run. 4 touchdowns today for Thurman Thomas of the Buffalo Bills, 1 on a catch, 3 on the ground. They romp over the Rams and their former coach Chuck Knox, 40-7. Pittsburgh, in the game many of you saw, coming from a 14-0 deficit and winning at Houston. Great debut for Bill Cowher, 29-24. Here are some of the highlights from that game. Eric Green was injured early, aggravating a bruised right shoulder on the first play from scrimmage, did not return, and that played a role later, down 14-0. The Steelers go with the fake punt. Warren Williams is on the receiving end of this one. After the catch, 44-yard pickup, down to the 1. Barry Foster scored from there, made it 14-7. Warren Moon had his moments, but also was intercepted 5 times. This one is deflected and snared by safety Larry Griffin, and it set up a touchdown pass from Neil O'Donnell to Jeff Graham. With 15 seconds left in the first half, Moon will find Ernest Gibbons for Gibbons' second TD of the first half. Oilers led 24-16 at halftime. But following Moon's 4th interception of the day, O'Donnell threw this 9-yarder to Adrian Cooper for the score. That put Pittsburgh up 29-24. Cooper is the second-year tight end out of Oklahoma who replaced Green following the shoulder injury, and Cooper gets what proves to be the game-winning touchdown. Late in the game, the Steelers came up with their 5th interception as Moon had the ball down around the 15-yard line of Pittsburgh and might have gotten the Oilers in for the go-ahead score, but as it was, he was turned away with the 5th interception of the day, and the Steelers with the big upset at Houston, 29-24. New Orleans played at Philadelphia. The Eagles win this one, 15-13, over 100 yards rushing in the game for Herschel Walker. He also caught a 2-yard touchdown pass early from Randall Cunningham. Cunningham threw 2 TDs. The game winner proved to be a 20-yarder to Fred Barnett in the 4th quarter, and Philly wins at home, 15-13. Indianapolis got 11 sacks in the game, 4 of them by the former Brown Chip Banks. The 11 sacks ties a team record and is just one shy of the NFL record for most sacks in a game. A 14-3 win for the Colts, the first time they have ever won a season opener as the Indianapolis Colts, and we have some highlights from the Hoosier Dome. As we said, it was a very difficult day for Bernie Kosar, banged up here in the first half, as Chip Banks will sack him on the first Browns play from scrimmage in the ballgame. Tony McCoy also got to him. And later, their #1 draft pick, Steve Empman. Banks will get him again. And now bring in Quentin Coriat. Remember, well, now we move ahead. Mark Herman doing something here. Folks, if I knew what it was, I'd tell you. Here's Herman dropping back. He throws a pass, and it's caught by Reggie Langhorne, a 26-yard touchdown against his former Cleveland mates. That made it 14-3. And you get the general idea, even if all the particulars weren't there, that it was the Colts' day. They romped by a score of 14-3. Quentin Coriat had a couple of sacks, and Steve Empman had one. Those were the first 2 picks overall in the entire draft. The Colts had the first couple of picks in the entire league, and so it was a good day for those 2 rookies, and the Colts win at 14-3. Minnesota and Green Bay are in overtime at Lambeau Field. This one is tied at 20 apiece. And when we come back, we'll take a look at some of the plays that were controversial today in Atlanta, plays that might have been reversed had the replay rules still been in effect, and we'll do it after this commercial break.